Right, so upon request, I'm going to work out the problems for the review key and briefly explain as I go. So this isn't going to be super thorough, but I'll just explain as I go. For number one, we're going to find the exact value of sine of 300 minus 45. So in this problem, you've already had it broken apart for you. So originally this was 255. So we're really finding sine of 255. But we know how to find sine of 300 and sine of 45, so we're going to use the sum and difference formula here. So I'm looking at my formulas, and I'm going to rewrite this sine of 300 minus 45 with my 300 as my alpha and my 45 as my beta. So using that formula, I'm going to have sine of 300 times cosine of 45 minus cosine of 300 times sine of 45. And at this point, we've got all these trig functions that we need to evaluate. Now, two of them should look very familiar, cosine of 45, sine of 45. But sine of 300, that's not in the first quadrant, so we actually have to draw a reference angle to be able to evaluate that. So 300, I know that that's going to be in the fourth quadrant because it's bigger than 270 but less than 360. I need to actually find out how big my reference angle is right here, and I do that by subtracting my angle 300 from the x-axis, which is 360. So in here it's going to be 60 degrees. From that point, I can go ahead and draw the rest of my triangle, the side values anyway, and now I'm ready to find sine of 300. One last thing before I actually start plugging in here is the sign, like positive or negative, changes depending on your quadrant. So we need to remember Alyssa Sago taste cactuses, or all students take calculus, okay? And that means that sine of 300 is actually going to be negative. So this is going to be negative square root of 3 over 2, opposite over hypotenuse, times cosine of 45 is the square root of 2 over 2, minus cosine of 300. Cosine's positive in the fourth quadrant, so this is just going to be positive 1/2 times square root of 2 over 2. At this point, you're just doing some algebra work. To multiply fractions, we go across the top, across the bottom, and we get negative square root of 6 over 4 minus the square root of 2 over 4. You can leave it written like that, or you can combine the fractions and get this as your final answer. Now, on the test, I want you guys to be writing these answers on the line. So over here, you would put sine of 300 minus 45 equals negative square root of 6 minus square root of 2 all over 4.